Hey guys, this is our Monday night meetup. Thank you guys so much for being on. Tonight we have a really special guest, Senior Gold Ambassador Heather Barnett, and she is going to dump some knowledge on us. So I hope you guys all sit back if you're on live and listen, or if you're watching the recording, you may want to even get out a notebook and take some notes. So Heather, I'm kicking it over to you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. So like Amy said, I am Heather. I'm a senior gold ambassador. I've been with Plexus for a long time, probably since January of 2018. I've learned a lot, and I have recently learned a whole lot more in the last 7 or so months. So I'm going to talk to you guys today about the stories that you tell yourself, how to recognize your garbage stories that you're telling yourself, and how you can change your thoughts about it. So I want to talk to you a little bit first about why your brain feels like when you go live or when you call somebody on the phone or when you post a picture of your before and afters with your belly hanging out, why you feel like you're going to die. Because our brains are still wired from caveman days where fear meant death. So we still think our brains are still wired that way. So when we feel like we're going to go live, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to die, I'm going to throw up. Well, you're not going to die. You might throw up, but you're not going to die. So that is why we get so scared to do things because of our caveman brain. We have to reteach our brain new things. So I have learned about these things called thought models. I don't know if you've ever heard of them, and I have to make the disclaimer that I am not certified or trained to teach this to you. So if anyone asks, I just told you about it. I just told you what I've learned. So thought models are basically a way for you to recognize stories that you're telling yourself. So what you might think is a fact, which is your circumstance, you might say, well, none of this is working. Nobody is going to benefit. This doesn't matter. This is very frustrating. Well, those are all thoughts that you're having. But what if you were to change those thoughts and say, this is working, this does matter, while this is very frustrating, it's very rewarding. So if you change your thoughts, then you're going to change your actions. Because if you're saying that none of this is working, you're going to stop. Why would you continue to go live? Why would you continue to share your story, to do anything hard if you're going to sit there and tell yourself that none of this is working? So the whole idea behind these thought models is to change, you're building new neural pathways in your brain. So you're going to be using different parts of your brain. And you have to think too, the actions that you want to change, like say you want to create new habits, the actions that you want to change are, how do I word this? Your stories are created from the behavior of those actions. So if you're not doing anything, then you're going to believe nothing's working. You're going to weaponize your thoughts against you. And it takes 90 days to change your thoughts, really change your thoughts. So I'll give you an example of my thought model for tonight, because I had all kinds of thoughts about it, that I wasn't going to do well, that nobody was going to show up, which there are people here, um, and that, I wouldn't be able to put all of my thoughts together because I don't really plan things. Like my thoughts just kind of look like this. So I had a lot of thoughts about it. And there were a few times where I was like, well, maybe I'll just message Amy and say I'll pass tonight. And if I would have passed, then maybe Amy might not have learned something new, or Stephanie might not have, you know, learned a new way to think about things. So that's the thought model is you have a circumstance. That is fact. You cannot change that fact at all. It's like a scientific fact. So you can't put in your fact line that Amy doesn't like me. Well, did Amy say she didn't like you? Because if she didn't say it, then it's not a fact. Like if she said it and it's hard proof and it's on your phone and it's in black and white, okay, there's your fact. But she didn't say that to me. So that's just a thought that I was having. So that's your circumstance line is fact, it's not ever going to change. Then you have a thought about that fact. So let's say the fact is that for me, I did not close out at senior gold at the end of the month. So my thought about that could have been, well, poop, for lack of a better word. um, and my feelings about that thought is I could have sat there and spun and felt really terrible, felt really discouraged and down and not want to do anything. So there's my action line is not doing anything. And the result, well, then I'm not going to be senior gold again this month. See how that whole thing works? So it all runs together, and each thought model has one thought. You don't want to put multiple thoughts into the thought model. So the whole idea with it is to find your stories. Now, these are called unintentional thought models, the ones where you sit down and you're just all the thoughts that are running through your head. Then there's intentional thought models. Those are the thoughts that you actually want to pick. So that's where your brain, you're going to struggle with the fact that you want to, let's say you want to pick a thought about, okay, I guess we'll go back to my senior gold thing, right? I could sit here with my unintentional model and be super sad about it, or I could choose a different thought about it, and maybe I wouldn't necessarily be happy, but I could be, I don't know, complacent maybe, or maybe not complacent, but comfortable with the fact that I did not hit it because I didn't do the work. I know I didn't do the work, so I have to be okay with what I ended up with. So you want to, that's how we can work to change our stories is to change our thoughts. We don't want to use our thoughts to weaponize us against or weaponize our thoughts against ourselves, because in turn our business is going to suffer, our life will suffer, it kind of trickles down. Old habits die hard, so you want to teach your brain new habits, and that's where that whole 90 days comes in. So you want to take that 90 days. There's going to be a lot of resistance in the beginning from your brain. Your brain's going to offer you tons of garbage thoughts, like tons of them. And that's where you can do your brain dump every single day for 90 days, and you can explore, like, why are you not doing the work? Well, you'll have a whole list of reasons, and you can explore those things and change your thoughts and work to change your stories. And this will help you with your teams as well to be able to ask the right questions and help them figure out their story and help them figure out, like, why is their brain offering them these junky thoughts that are not serving them? They're not serving anybody else. They're only hurting you. So that's the whole thought model. So I want you to think about, in 90 days, what if your first 90 days is not about, rewards or outcomes or ranks? What if it's just about building self-trust, muscle memory, and learning new stories? Wouldn't that be cool? And then your next 90 days, that's where magic happens. That's where you'll see your business start to grow and thrive. Like, if you're sitting here stuck for, so many years at a certain rank and you're basically chasing an outcome, you have to trust the process to get to your outcome. Because if you're only going after your outcome, then you're just hustling and you're going to be exhausted and you're going to be worn out and you're going to be constantly trying to hustle to the next rank, and you're not going to get any reward from it. You're not going to be able to sit with that excitement and that joy of earning that rank. You're just hustling to the outcome. Whereas if you trust the process and you know that process is going to take a while, because we want to play the long game. We're not trying to get to diamond in a year. That's not really sustainable for us. I mean, yes, it would be nice, but it's not sustainable. What we're building here is sustainable business. And the way that we do that is through the stories and the thoughts that we tell ourselves and the thoughts that we pick for ourselves. So trust the process, trust that it works. And you want to have your own process. You don't always want to be copying off of someone else, because what works for Nicole might not work for Amy, and what works for Amy might not work for Jamie. And, this, that, and the other thing, like, you want to, how do we put this? Maybe it's not working for you because it didn't come from you. Like, you want to be able to build your own, your own thing, your own system, your own business. You don't want to be building because, the way that Amy talks to her people is not the way that I'm going to talk to my people. It's not that she's wrong or I'm wrong. It's that it's different, and what works for her people might not work for my people. And that's totally okay. But you have to be okay with that. You have to be okay with, hold on. You have to be okay with those facts. I make sure, like, I cover everything for you guys, because I've learned so much from Kristen Boss, and I joined her academy back in December, the end of December, and I've been through a lot of different things in her academy, and the way that and I've learned a lot of different things about hustling and how to be able to recognize the hustle versus, like, not hustling. I don't know. I don't really know how to explain that. And I think you guys might feel that towards the end of the month, where, we're all trying to, do the things that we set out to do. But if we do the same things every single day, and after this call is over, I'll send you guys a little gray box. It's a gray box that I do in Kristen's Academy. Probably not supposed to share it, but that's okay. It's all of the things that, if you do these things every single day, you will have success. You're going to have a lot of stories. You're going to have a lot of thoughts about everything. and that's okay. We're not looking for perfect. So perfectionism like doesn't live here. So you guys like get that out of your head. Reels don't have to be perfect. Your posts don't have to be perfect. Your pictures don't even have to be perfect. It just has to be you. And when you tell yourself that, well, they like this one, or this one's doing way better at her business versus me, like I'm not doing anything. No one's reading my posts. Well, if you feel that way, then you're going to stop writing your posts. You're going to start posting other things. But for me, I continue to write those posts because I have people that end up coming to me. They don't ever comment. They don't ever like anything. They don't comment on anything. And probably half my business is built on those kinds of people. Funny enough. So I kind of wanted to open it up, if that's okay, if anybody had any questions, because I kind of talked about a lot of things, and I feel like maybe some people might have some questions.
Yeah, you guys can just unmute yourselves if you have any questions. One thing I love about it, Heather, is I think you can actually write out your thought model, right? And like
Mhm.
sketch it out because we all have it. I mean, we've all been there.
Yep.
And I really love, especially what you said, like, oh, is that a fact? It really makes you address it. And then what do you do with it? You just move on?
Well, if it is a fact, that's your circumstance line. So you're going to have thoughts and feelings and actions and results on that fact, but you have to figure out, is it a fact or is it the truth? Like, Amy, you ghosted me after I sent you a message because you were totally interested in the business. And then when I reached back out, you didn't answer. And then I reached back out again and you didn't answer. Well, now you might be thinking, or I might be thinking, like, my fact is that Amy doesn't want this anymore. When in reality, Amy might have accidentally opened the message when she wasn't ready to open it. So it's not, that would be your like your thought about it. So you can choose different thoughts on how you want to think about it, but whatever thoughts you choose, that's going to be your result. So if you're not having great thoughts, you're most likely not going to have great results. And if you have those negative thoughts, then you're going to start negotiating with yourself, not making time for things, finding other things to do. They call that buffering. So, you know, you want to steer clear of those things too. And your process, guys, your process is going to be boring. It's going to be mundane. It's going to be boring, but you have to trust it because it works. Like the little gray box I will send you guys, it works. You will get results. You might not get the exact results you want in 90 days, but maybe you'll gain more followers. Maybe you'll gain more, you'll learn how to write better posts. Maybe you'll, gain a few new ambassadors or business partners or whatever. Like, even if you just grow by one or two people when you weren't the past 90 days, that's still growth. That's still progress. That's still something to celebrate. And you should celebrate it. You should sit with that specific celebration and be super excited about it.
Yeah, because no matter what, you'd be further along had you not done it, right? It's not like you said, you're not going to rank to diamond in 90 days. But
Right.
And I also imagine it's similar to the winning day, not in tasks, but really just setting up those healthy habits.
Yes.
But hers probably has, does hers have more? I'm anxious to see the gray box. I'm sure you've sent it to me before. We won't. Okay, you sent me a couple things. Then we won't tell Kristen Boss that you're gonna share it real quickly. does it have more things around it that's a thought process or a thought model, or is it all just like do this, do this, do this, do this?
So, and I left my book downstairs, or else I'd show you guys. It's a 90-day goal getter challenge. So the whole process is before the 90 days start, you want to take the average of your last 3 months, the average people that have been added to your team, the average PV, the average money, all the money you've made. And then like how many Instagram followers you have, how many Facebook friends you have, a couple other things. And then there's like tons of pages of like goals. Why did you pick this goal? Why do you want this goal? How are you going to get to this goal? What are the obstacles? How are you going to work through the obstacles that come up in this time frame around this goal? What if somebody gets sick? How are you gonna like work with that? What if you fail? How are you gonna work through that? What if you get sick? What if your kids get sick? What if you end up with, like, how are you gonna plan for that? So if you plan ahead for all of the things that you could think of, whether you go on a family vacation, how are you going to work around that? Sudden things that would arise, or game schedules or anything. How are you going to plan to work around that? And then once you have that plan, and let's say your kids get sick, well, you already know how you're going to work around that because you planned it all out. So when your 90 days start, you do have thought models. The gray box is making a reel, making a post, reach out to so many new leads. There's like 5 things in it. And you do a daily thought download. You have things that you must get done that day. Could be laundry, dishes, like running this kid this way, and playing taxi. But it's just to plan out your whole day. And then in that 90 days, it's supposed to reveal your thoughts and how you work and help you understand your brain so you can have your own back on things. You can be confident in your sales and be okay with messing up and, maybe saying the wrong thing in a message. Like, you can be okay with that. You can fall on your sword, like take total ownership of things, just so you can know how to have your own back.
Well, thank you, Heather. I'm sure some people may have questions in the chat. We had a lot of people on vacation because it's July. So a lot of people have been watching the recordings. So don't be surprised if you get some questions. And then if you don't want to actually share the actual graphic, because we don't want you to get in trouble, because I know you paid for that, you can maybe even just type the idea behind it, or just type it out if you don't want to actually share her actual document. So.
I can do that.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Heather. Thank you guys for hopping on. I'm excited. I have been trying to figure out how to get back into daily work, and sometimes the winning day gets me overwhelmed. I feel like I need to split it into maybe 2 days. So I'm curious to see hers, especially because it's probably less intense or less hustle, if that's the word. So.
Yes.
Yeah.
The whole idea here, guys, we don't want to hustle.
Right. Hard work, and because and I've listened to some of her podcasts, right? Like, still work hard and still go for big goals, and even still go for goals like, hey, in 90 days I want to hit a big rank, but don't do the hustle where you burn out, you sacrifice your time, you're not taking time off, and all those things.
Right.
So,
right.
I think hustle has just had a bad connotation, So
it is. Yeah.
And then that's when you're right. Nicole said good hustle and bad hustle. Because I think hustle also, like you said, is where we start sending gross messages because we just need one more person and we're not serving that person at all.
Nope.
And then it's like,
or yourself.
Right. And day one of the new month, we feel gross. And we're like, oh, that person really should have like just bought a probio and or whatever.
Yeah.
So, well, thank you for the reminder. Thank you guys for hopping on. I will post the recording here as soon as it uploads to YouTube and processes. Bye, guys.
Thanks. Bye.